The Western Cape People's Bill is critical to saving the Western Cape from the consequences of a failed South African state. My name is Phil Craig, and in this video I will explain how the Western Cape People's Bill will legally empower the Western Cape people to take control of their own destiny and to demand either the devolution of powers, full federal autonomy, or outright independence. Terrible decisions are at the heart of South Africa's problems. Since entering the post-94 democratic era, South Africa has been governed by politicians who have been indoctrinated with a discredited communist ideology and who are obsessed with race. Their government has systematically destroyed the functional capacity of the South African state. Despite this, it has protected state monopolies and actively prevented both regional governments and the private sector from providing solutions. As a result, South Africa is imploding with chronic unemployment, rampant crime, poverty, government corruption, and an inability to provide even the basic essentials such as clean drinking water and electricity. Voters in the Western Cape, where the majority have never once endorsed this government, have had to watch on helplessly. The Western Cape People's Bill will fundamentally change the relationship between these Western Cape voters and the South African national government. South Africa is defined as a quasi-federal state. This means that it has the appearance of being a federal state with provinces and premiers and provincial parliaments, but in reality, almost all power remains under the control of the central national government. As the system of government currently stands, it doesn't matter what Western Cape voters want. The national government uses a mandate obtained from voters in the rest of South Africa to force their choices onto the Western Cape people. The Western Cape People's Bill will change this. South Africa has signed several international charters which guarantee the right to self-determination. And self-determination is a fundamental principle of international law, which the South African Constitution endorses. Self-determination is a right which all states are legally obliged to uphold, and it's a group right which applies to all peoples. International law is quite vague on who constitutes a people, but one of the key tests is whether the group in question wants to be defined as a people. The Western Cape is the only South African province with its own constitution, and in its preamble, it already establishes a Western Cape people when it states, "We, the people of the Western Cape," before going on to proclaim that the province has 3 official languages, Afrikaans, English, and isiXhosa. The purpose of the Western Cape People's Bill is to officially record that the Western Cape people exist and that they want to be defined as a people for the purposes of exercising their right to self-determination within the South African state. The Western Cape People's Bill will be tabled in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament, so parties like the ANC and the EFF, who do not have a provincial majority, cannot vote the bill down. Once the bill has been passed, the Western Cape people will be entitled to self-determination, which the United Nations then says can be exercised in the form of either increased autonomy or devolution, federalism, sovereign independence, or unification. In accordance with the South African Constitution, the Western Cape Premier can then call a provincial referendum to establish how the Western Cape people want to exercise their right to self-determination. Given that a large majority of the parties making up the Western Cape Provincial Parliament support federalism, the most likely outcome will be the tabling of a Western Cape Federal Autonomy Bill requesting control of policing, railways, electricity, taxation, an exemption from all race-based legislation, and a veto on any changes to the South African Constitution which would affect the province. If you would like the Western Cape People's Bill to be passed, then please visit www.wcpeople.africa where you can register your support. If you want more information about the bill, you will also be able to find it on this website. Once you've registered your support, please share this video so that others can support it too.